Om Sri Sai Ram. Welcome to Sri Sathya Sai Loka Seva Gurukulam. Today we are going to continue learning building blocks of life, cells and tissue. This is part 8. Before going into the details about the today's lesson, we'll see the answers for the home assignment. The first question asked was, name the kind of the tissue present at the stem tip of a flowering plant, right? The question is very lengthy, but you can able to have this like root tip or in the side branch tip, anything can be replaced by the stem tip, that part. Okay, so what is the tissue which is present? That is meristematic tissue which is present. The meristematic tissue which is undergoing division, and then because of that the plant continue to grow, right? So the meristematic tissues are present at the tip of flowering plant. Stem tip also you can write it, okay? So clearly you give the answer like this. Don't write it as one word answer. The second question, in the flow chart given below, fill in the blanks, right? We ask you to fill 1, 3 and 5. This is the question which is taken from your textbook. When you are considering that the plant tissue is having meristematic tissue and a permanent tissue. The permanent tissue, again it is divided into 3 different types of tissues, right? So that is protective, supporting and conducting tissues. These are the answers for 1, 3 and 5 we have to fill. So you can write 1 corresponds to meristematic, 3 corresponds to protective and 5 corresponds to conducting, or you can draw like this also. Okay, with that we will move further. Today's learning objectives are, we are going to study animal tissues today. In that, we are going to study the types. In this video, we are going to cover only 2 types of animal tissue, that is epithelial tissue and the muscular tissue. First, we should know what is animal tissue, right? The tissues which is especially found in animals, and we can able to see its distinct character by which it is different from that of the plant tissue, right? So these kind of tissues only we are going to talk about today, and hence it is known as coming under animal tissue. These animal tissues are divided into 4 categories. They are epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue and a nervous tissue. These are the 4 types. First, we will see the details about epithelial tissue. Epi means outer, thelium means it's like a covering. So we can able to see this epithelial tissue which is present in the covering. So the main function is, it is involving in protection. It has to protect our body from various other things, right? Inside our body and also outside our body. Inside, how we are eating so many different kind of food, spicy food, oily food, everything, right? So our inner part of our body should not get any disturbance because of that. So it is mainly involving in protection, and it is very thin layer, very small, very thin, and it is like a thin membranous like layer of cells we can able to see. Mostly where it is present, location, where it is located on the outer surface of the body. We have the outer surface of the body as a skin, right? So we will see the structure of the skin in eventually, but it is the outermost surface, means we can immediately think about skin, right? Where these epithelial tissues are present. Apart from the outermost surface, where and all it is present in the internal organ lining. If you are taking a kidney, heart or any other organ of your interest, you can able to see it is having a proper structure, right? You can see that the kidney is bean shaped. The entire kidney is surrounded by what? This protective tissue, that is nothing but the epithelial tissue, and it is present in the inner lining of the body cavity. What is this body cavity? Each and every organ is present inside our body in a specific location, right? If you will just remove the heart out, then you can able to see some depression or some kind of cavity which is present, right? This is nothing but the body cavity. The place where the organs are present inside our body. If we remove, we can able to see the depression. So that is also lined by epithelial tissue. There are 3 distinct types of epithelial tissue. Okay, epithelial tissue is also a type of animal tissue. In that also 3 different types are there. They are squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium and columnar epithelium. All this epithelium we will see one by one. First, we will see the squamous epithelium cells. The squamous means mostly it is given to the animals which is having scales on the surface. It will be like one after the another in the fish, or if you take for an example any calotus or any kind of reptiles, snakes and all, we can able to see the entire body is covered with the scales, right? So it is one after the another very neatly arranged, right? That kind of arrangement is known as squamous. Since in our body also some of the cells very neatly arranged, and then it is known as squamous epithelial cells. The squamous epithelial cell, the nature is hexagonal. Hexa means how many? 6, right? So 6-sided cells they are, and they are irregular cells. Sometimes it may be having a proper shape. Sometimes we cannot able to see any shape. It may be an irregular shaped cells. And these cells are present in the outermost side of our body, our skin, right? So it is present in the skin of our body, and main function of our skin is protection, right? In the environment, so many different kind of harsh things are happening, right? We are also putting soaps and other chemicals on our body, like a moisturizer, this, that and all we are putting, right? So these are the chemicals which is harmful to our body, right? So the skin is the structure which is present around our body to protect. So the skin involving in the squamous epithelial cell in the skin involving in protection, not only from chemicals, right? Outside sun and also heat waves, everything is coming, right? If there is a object or anything is present, if we are not having a skin, immediately if we will hit somewhere, then we will get hurt so much. So the skin is involving in the protection from all the harmful things and injury from which we can expect from the environment. So our body is getting protected. The next is known as cuboidal epithelium. Cube, you have heard of cube in your mathematics, right? It is a 3-dimensional structure. When you are taking a cross section, we can still able to see the square shape, right? That is known as cuboidal. So that kind of cells we are having in our body, that is known as cuboidal epithelial cells. All are small cubes arranged one after the another. Okay, these are very thick, and these cells are present in some part of the kidney, not full, some part of the kidney tubules. Kidney is having so many tiny tubules which is present. So there we can able to see the cuboidal epithelial cell, and it is present in the glandular duct. Some glands will have a duct, right? Duct is nothing but a tube. You may be heard of liver, right? Liver will have a small duct through which it will secrete out the chemicals and it will reach our alimentary canal for the digestion of food. So the food which is getting digested because of the duct which is present through which the liquid is flowing, right? So this kind of small tubes which is connecting an organs which is known as duct. So in that also we can able to see this cuboidal epithelial cells are present. Mostly these cells are involving in secretion in function. It will produce certain substances. Hence it is known as secretion in function. The third type is known as columnar epithelium. Columns you may be heard of, right? Where columns are present when you are building a structure like houses and all, first they will put a beam or column, right, in which we will then make a wall, right? Column is a long structures which in the cross section we can able to see like a rectangle, right? So these are the columnar cells. These are epithelium in nature, hence it is known as columnar epithelial cells. And these cells are very tall and elongated cells, very long cells. And these cells are sometimes have cilia which is present. Cilia, if you remember our previous sections and all, when we are talking about bacteria, we have studied about cilia, right? A small hair-like projection which is present on the surface of the bacterial cell, right? Similar kind of cilia which is present on this columnar cells, not in all, that a few of the columnar epithelial cell has the cilia which is present on the top. If the cilia are present, then it is known as ciliated columnar epithelial cell. Okay, columnar epithelial we know already, since it is ciliated, it is known as. And they are present in the inner lining of stomach, intestine and trachea. We have already seen some only have the cilia, right? Cilia mostly present in the tracheal region. Trachea is present in the respiratory tract, where we have nostrils that needs to trachea, bronchus and bronchioles and all, right? So, in that region, these kind of ciliated cells are present. What is its major function? When we are respiring, along with the air, we will take some of the dust particle, right? Those dust particle will be gathered and it has to be pushed away from our body, right? It will be creating some kind of disturbance. Sometimes we will do sneezing also, right? So, these columnar cells help in pushing all the unwanted dust particle, bacteria, the waste product which is entered inside our nostril through our respiratory system. So, this is also secreted out because of the, this is also sent out because of the cilia which is present on the columnar cell. What's its major function? These cells in the stomach and intestine, they are secretion in function. It will produce certain enzymes for digestion. In the intestine especially, these cells involving in absorption of the digested food. So, absorption is also one of the function. The cilia will do a lashing effect, that is a sweeping effect. With the broom we will do the sweeping. That movement is known as lashing. So, like that we can able to see that the columnar epithelial cell which is having cilia, which will tend to lash out all the unwanted things which entered inside our respiratory tract. Now, we will see the muscular tissue. The muscular tissue is very long tissues and which is having a very narrow cells which is known as muscle fiber. If you are a non-vegetarian, you may know about how the muscles will look like, right? So, they are having some of the narrow cells, and these muscle fibers are nothing but the muscular cells. And they are named because they are small and long thread-like structures. Hence, it is known as fiber and it is known as muscle fiber. And muscle fibers, they are bringing about the movement of the body. If we wanted to move ourselves or if we wanted to take something from the table or anything, then we have to do certain action, right? So, the muscle cells are involving in the movement of our body, and also walking or jumping action, whatever we are doing, without muscle, it is not possible. So, it is involving in the locomotion of our body as well. Now, we will see the type of muscular tissue. The human have 3 different kind of muscle tissue. We will see what are they. They are striated, unstriated and cardiac muscle. These are the 3 distinct type of muscle which is present in our body. First, we will see the striated or stripped muscle cells. They are involving in contraction. Contraction means we have to move, right? If you are moving our hand or finger, it is the cells are undergoing the movement, right? It is undergoing contraction and relaxation. So, this movement is voluntarily we are controlling the finger movement, hand movement, leg movement and all, neck movement. We are ourselves we are controlling, right? So, these are known as voluntarily controlled action. Hence, these muscle cells are known as voluntary controlled muscles, voluntary muscles. So, we can able to move this muscle as we like it. And the nature is they will have so many nucleus. Usually we have seen like one cell will have only one nucleus. Since it is a long fiber like structure, it will have multiple nucleus present along the length, because the nucleus has to control its own own cell, right? So if the cell is little long and then the nucleus is in another part, then the communication has to given to the muscle fiber will be lost or it may delayed, right? So in order to avoid that, muscle cells are having multinucleated, many nucleuses are present. And apart from that, muscle cells will have bands which is present. They are light bands and also the dark band. In that, where it is present in arms, legs, face, everywhere we can able to see. In this figure, you can able to see that striation which is present, right? These are nothing but the stripes which is present in the cells, and each and every cell will have its own nucleus. See na, so many nucleuses are mentioned over there, and the cells are having the membrane and cytoplasm is also present inside the muscle fiber. The major function is it involving in movement, and all those things are under our control. Voluntarily we can able to control the movement of this kind of muscles. These are coming under striated muscles. The next one is unstripped or unstriated muscle. Okay, these are the muscle cells. You can able to see they are also having myofibrils which is present. Nucleus is also present. The cytoplasm inside this muscle cells are known as sarcoplasm. Okay, and then it is having the outermost plasma membrane. Since we are talking about animal cells, it will have only the outermost plasma membrane which is present. And these cells are otherwise known as smooth muscle, and it won't have any kind of striation. From the name itself you can know, right? Unstriated. So it won't have any kind of striation or strips or band like structure. And this muscles movement we cannot able to control. It will involuntarily it will work. We cannot able to control its action at all. Hence they are coming under involuntary. They are very slender and tapered cells. Slender means very thin, and tapered means at the end it will be much more smaller, thinner, right? Here itself you can able to see at the end you can able to see it is little smaller than the center part, right? So these are some of the tapered cells which is present. The example where it is located, it is present in the blood vessel, urinary bladder, uterus, and muscles of the alimentary canal. All those places we can able to see. When we are eating the food, we can swallow, right? That we can able to control. Then after it is reaching our esophagus, we cannot able to control, right? It will keep moving. The food will keep moving to the stomach, intestine and all, right? How this movement is controlled? That is uncontrollable, right? Because of the unstripped muscles which is present, that is controlling the movement of the food. We cannot able to control, correct? So these kind of push which is happening to the food in the alimentary canal is known as peristaltic movement. Okay, this peristaltic movement always it will be in one direction and it will pushing towards the rectum and anus. Sometimes if there is any problem, we will do vomiting. That is also not under our control, right? So this kind of peristaltic movement of food particle towards down place of the alimentary canal is taking place because of the unstriated muscle. The main function is it is involving in movement of the content which is inside our body or any part of our body which we cannot able to control. It is not under our control. The next one is the cardiac muscle. You can see the structure of the cardiac muscle which is totally different from all the different kind of muscles we have seen. This cardiac muscles will have interconnections. Can you able to see in this figure? Interconnected, right? This is a peculiar feature which is present in the heart cells and which is also having striation on that dark band and light band we can able to see. And it is having nucleus as well. And they are only present in the heart. Okay, heart cells are totally different from all the other muscle cells we have seen. So, it is having some specialization that we will see now. They are contract and relaxes very rapidly, right? In a minute, we can able to see 70 times, 72 times the heart is beating, right? So, how many times it is doing that? When it started, when we were inside our mother's body, that is like a fetus form, that time itself the heart started pulsating. And till our death, it is going to work, which is not at all having a rest. Unlike the other muscle, if we are not eating the food, the smooth muscle won't work, right? So, it will go for a rest. If we are not moving our body parts, if we are sitting in position, then we are not doing any work to our leg, right? So, all those muscles will have the time to take rest, but heart muscle, they don't even think of taking a rest, right? Then till the death, it has to work continuously without any kind of relaxation, right? And the nature is, it is having stripes which is present, and they are having short branches which is present. In between, we can able to see the intercalated disc, that is like between two different fibers when it is connected, like the wire baskets and all, how they are making, they are having some kind of connections between that, right? One fiber will go up, other fiber will go down, in the next it will go in the other way, right? So, similar kind of intercalating discs are also present. So, these muscles are totally different from other muscles, right? And they are present in the heart, and contraction and relaxation is the only function. Apart from that, it has no other function, but it has to do that without any rest. Now, we are coming to the end part of this video. We will see the review questions. What is the nature of heart muscle? How heart muscle different from the striated muscle based on their function? What are the type of muscular tissue present in human? With that note, I am signing off. Om Shri Sai Ram.